Melody and I, and along with our grandson Jacob, were recently in Middletown, Maryland, and we got a chance to have a private tour of both the Bill Moran Workshop and Museum and the W.F. Moran Blacksmith and Artisan Academy. So I put it all, both of them in one video. It's going to make an awfully long video. So I'm using the same introduction for both this video and the other one. And I'll leave cards in the videos and links down below and all that kind of stuff. That if you want to see the other video of our trip, you can have easy access. And I'd like to ask you to please consider subscribing to the channel, especially for this one. If you know anything about bladesmithing, you know the name Bill Moran. He was the premier knife maker, reintroduced Damascus steel process to the United States. Guy was just outstanding. And not many people get the chance to go down to Middletown, Maryland, which is kind of outside Frederick, but might really enjoy seeing and hearing about Bill Moran, the Academy, and the legacy that is now in the Academy where other people are being taught his techniques. So more people subscribe, post comments, give it thumbs up. The algorithm will share this video with more people, and they'll also get a chance to see what's there. So, okay, on to the video.
Everything in here has something to do with this building or the how we went about getting money for it. This building cost us $1.1 million. That doesn't include any fixtures, tooling, equipment, nothing like that. It's just the building itself. And we raised about $400,000 of our own. And then we had a gentleman, a friend of Bill Moran's, who gave us $1 million to build the building. So we owe nothing.
That's awesome.
We owe absolutely nothing. The equipment's paid for, the tooling's paid for, building is paid for. So, but because we're 501c3, now we still got to keep the lights on. This is my full-time job, which is one reason why I didn't mind coming down here. Even though it exceeds 40 hours a week, I love it. I have a passion for it. It's just become such an integral part of my life. And so we do all kinds of fundraisers, classes, anything like that. So are you from the area?
I'm from Lancaster.
Where? I'm sorry?
Lancaster. So yeah.
Okay.
Lancaster.
Yeah. We have a couple of members that are from the Lancaster area. So this is our reception area, obviously, and we have different events. Anytime we have an event, we take all the merchandise out of these. I call this my shameless commerce department, where we sell our T-shirts, belt buckles, and water bottles, stuff like that. But we take everything out of here, and then we fill these showcases with Bill's knives. And this year, well, as a matter of fact, day before yesterday, let's see, today is the 4th, on the May the 1st, Bill would have been 100 years old.
Wow.
So at the end of the month, on May 31st, we're having the centennial celebration here, and I'm going to fill the cases. We got 3 cases here, and we have, I think, 4 down at the other shop. So I'm putting out 100 knives for 100 years. So we have about 150 of his knives in our collection, and but yeah, we'll put 100 knives out for the day. So it's gonna be a fantastic day.
Put that on the calendar.
So this is kind of a neat little piece. It's plasma cut out, and this is our donor wall, as a matter of fact. So anyone who gave $1,000 or more, I have stars up in my office, and their names will get engraved, and we'll put their stars up over the wall as donors to the building.
Nice little light.
Yeah. It took me a long time to find this light, and if you go down to Bill's shop, when you go down to a shop, there's a light. It's not exactly like it, but it's on that side of the door, and I thought, that's pretty cool. That's pretty fitting. You know?
Wow. Oh, it's cool.
So the only knife I have of Bill's on display. I usually don't keep them on display because they're too valuable, but this is actually one of Bill's knives here.
Oh goodness, that is beautiful. Oh wow.
So we have books. This is the last book and the foundation actually produced this. Now I'll let you, when we come back around, give you some time. You can look through our book. But yeah, that book has more pictures of Bill Moran's knives than any other book that's been produced. The second one, that was the book before this one, but that was published back in the late 80s. And then the first one, Fire and Steel, that book was done in the 70s. So there's just a lot of different things. And you know, I told you about Bill Moran being the person who reintroduced Damascus in the United States. Yes. He was at a knife show out in Kansas, and he had been working trial and error, and this was in the early 70s, on trying to reproduce Damascus steel. Finally, he hit on the process, and he produced 10 knives, took them out to the show, and it blew people away. They were like, "What is this? How did you do this?" You know, awesome. And he's like, "Well," he says, "here's how I did it," and then he said, "Here's how you can do it too." And that's the process right there. I mean, it's not detailed process, but it basically explains how he came about to make his own Damascus. But he handed those out at the knife show. It was the first time that a custom knife had been made, and it sold for $100 an inch.
Are you serious?
$100 an inch, and he sold out like in minutes.
Oh yeah.
And so it was just really pretty special. So obviously this is our classroom. We have a few more things on display there. I'm sure you've heard of Spyderco knives.
I think I have.
Yeah. The top shelf are Spyderco knives.
Oh, yes.
Now most of those are prototypes, but we did end up, and they're the same ones on that shelf. The ones on the top shelf over there, we sell those, but these are the prototypes of that. He even received a patent for that particular. It's called a featherweight. Moran featherweight knife. And when I was telling you about, he did other things. So he did sculptures like this little metal sculpture. That's something that he did. And yeah, he was such a talented guy, and he only had an 8th grade education.
Wow.
But he was very, very well read. I mean, you know, stories and camping. He loved camping and hunting and trapping and fishing and everything outdoor. I mean, he just loved it.
So, did you get to meet him?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I got to meet him. Matter of fact, they did some hammer-ins, and I'm an auctioneer also, and so I volunteered to do the hammer-ins for them when they were doing them. So I did that.
What's a hammer-in?
Hammer-in is where they bring together a bunch of makers, and they have different classes on different techniques, whether it's forging or whether it's maybe silver wire inlay, or maybe it's leather work or something like that. But they did all, and then they'd have testing of knives, to see if you had a strong knife, if it was properly tempered and sharpened and all that stuff. So, but yeah, he was really a very humble guy too. I mean, he just you would never know how popular he was. He just always just very, very humble about everything he had done. So obviously our classroom, and we'll set this up. We have our meetings in here. We have our classes in here, various things. But every month we have a class, an open shop class, and anybody's welcome. So if you can get a ride down here from Lancaster, 3rd Saturday of the month, glad to have you. We open at 9 o'clock. We have coffee, and usually we have some donuts or something. But it's we always have something different. Let's see, the last 2 months. Last month we had a class on coal forge theory. So how to make a coal forge fire, how to keep it properly banked, and how to utilize it, where the heat is. Matter of fact, that's a picture of a coal forge right there, and where the hot spots are and how it basically works. And then we went out to the shop, and we had a practical side of that also. So come on around here. And fortunate we have ladies in our foundation because they made us put in real bathrooms in this building.
Oh, yeah.
Bill had a bath with a path that was out back of his shop, and so we have nice little kitchen area and bathrooms and stuff like that. So this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. This is our forge. It's 40 by 50. We have 8 forging stations over here. Each one of these forges are double-ended forges. They can reach a minimum of 2,600 degrees. Now they can go a lot lower, but we haven't found a parameter yet that we can test the high limit. But most metals melt before 2,600 degrees, so we really don't. Or even if you're using high carbon steel, you leave it in that forge at 2,600 degrees, it's going to burn it before it's of any use. So these are all gas forges in here. We have a propane tank out here that's a 1,000-gallon propane tank. We have 8 forging stations, like I said. Each anvil is a 150-pound Emerson anvil out of Louisiana. They're adjustable stands because people like your grandfather, who's a little bit taller than the average guy, he doesn't want to be slumping over trying to hit on one of these anvils, and that's kind of my job. When I see these guys that are tall or short, I come over and say, hey, stand up here a little bit, you don't let the hammer do the work. Don't use your back. This is our heavy line of equipment. This is a 50-pound Mayer, which is a first cousin to a little giant power hammer. This is one of 4 power hammers that we have. And we have 3 hydraulic presses. 2 of them are 25-ton presses. This one and the other one is exactly like it. Over in the corner we have a 21-ton press. And then we have in the center, this is a self-contained air hammer. It's a 106-pound air hammer. And when that thing hits, my office, this building is actually separate from that classroom side. The concrete's isolated and everything, but my office is right through that wall on the other side. When that thing hits, I can hear it and feel it right through the wall. It really hits hard. The ventilation system we just put in last year, everything gets so hot in here, even with all the windows, the doors, and the fans on and everything. We had to install this ventilation system. That is a 2 horsepower, 2-foot diameter fan with approximately 4-foot square vents, and it does a good job. It really pulls it out, pulls the heat out pretty darn good. We have, like I said, we have 8 forging stations, but there's only 4 vices here, but there's 2 sets of tools on each vice, so 1 for each station. We have a full welding shop back here in the back with 3 multi-process welders and all the other equipment to go with it. This power hammer, this is the smaller version of the one up front. This is a 25-pound little giant. And all these hammers, this one, and the one right behind me, these are all early 1900 power hammers. But they've all been refurbished, and they work like something was made yesterday.
All the machines made back then.
Yeah. Great. Big castings. These are called a C-frame for obvious reasons. A C-frame power hammer. And even this little one, it hits for probably 90% of anything people are forging that they need a power hammer for. It works for all of that. And then over here, this is our cold forge demonstration area. The first thing is the 100-pound little giant. This is the larger one of the 3, of course, and just a great piece of equipment. If you have something that's a little bit beefier, maybe a 2-inch bar or something like that, you put it in there and it'll make short work of it pretty darn quick. This is a 21-ton press, and our 2 heavy anvils. These, I give everybody the same opportunity. if you can carry it out to your car, you can have it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably worth about $5,000 or $6,000. So yeah. So
That would be a nice.
but I got to size everybody up first because there are a few guys I think that could do it. Yeah, it's a 500-pound Fisher made in 1949, and my days of even thinking about that are long gone. Yeah, this is a smaller one. This is only 375 pounds. It's a Sodafer anvil, and made in Germany. And then this is this is one of 2 coal forges that we have. This one here is a Buffalo Ironworks forge, and this was actually Bill Moran's forge when he was growing up on the farm, right outside of Frederick. We didn't even know it existed, and the guy that bought the farm called us up and said, "Are you guys interested in Bill's old forge?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, his coal forge, it's there in the building." We're like, yeah, we want it. Wow. So we went over and picked it up and brought it back and restored it, and so there it is. We got it back in operation. The practical side of the shop, the stainless steel all along the walls looks good, but there is a method to that. It's backed up with 3/4 inch 7-ply plywood. So if something does get away, hasn't yet, but just in case it does get away, it hit that stainless steel and it hit that 3/4 inch plywood. It's not going to go clear through the building and land someplace that it shouldn't.
That'd be scary.
So this area here is one of the next areas I'm going to be working on to get it changed around a little bit, more of a practical work area. Of course, we've got 2 70-inch large screen TVs, so whenever we have a demonstration here, we project it up on this TV so everybody can see it, and makes a big difference. We don't even need we don't need the gas heaters that are up here. This building is so well insulated that the heaters only come on about on the absolute coldest of days. I mean, it's got to be like under 20 degrees for 2, 3, 4 days before it even starts to get down to 50 degrees. But they do come on, but it's all gas operated in that. We have heat treating and tempering ovens. This is 1, 2, and then we have a third one behind that board over there. And these are all, of course, temperature controlled. I should point out our forges are temperature controlled too. They got a PID controller on there. So if we're trying to cycle and we don't want the temperature, let's say we don't want the temperature to go below 1800 degrees, it cuts back on at 1800, and if the high limit is 2100, it cuts out and then waits till it gets back down, cuts back on. So we never have to worry about having a problem as long as the PID controllers are working correctly. And same thing with these. These have availability to cycle. So if we're doing a thermocycling of tempering, we can set this up and it'll only allow whatever the temperature happens to be for the particular metal, and it'll only allow it to do that. Our grinding area is set up with 8 stations, just like the forges. The green ones are made by a company called Bader, and they are a heavy duty grinder. They're great. They're like the industry standard. The blue ones are made by a company called Broadbeck, and they're more of the new, I don't want to say new age, but they're a new type. And one of the features of these are that they will actually tilt 90 degrees so that they can grind on the horizontal also. All of them are speed control with a controller for each one. So depending upon what type of grinding you're doing, whether it's a finished grind or a heavy grind, we can take care of all that. So that is. And so this is our latest piece of machinery. We just got a 3-axis mill. It's a Grizzly mill. It's got a controller for 3-axis, and we just got this, so it's getting ready to get installed. We'll be moving it over and bolting it down, and then we'll get the deck set to the right height. And We got a full machinist box that was donated to us with every type of tool bit and the machinist tool. And again, it's not that we need this all the time, but depend upon the class. Like if we're teaching a class on guards, for example, and we want to be able to precision fit a guard to a knife, then this is where that would come in. But you know, you don't have to have it, but if you get to that level of experience and you're trying to make, let's say you're trying to make a knife to pass the journeyman's test for the ABS, well, something like this may be what you need. So that's kind of the short of the long story about this. Yeah, we do have, usually we have 2 classes a month, plus an open shop meeting once a month, and then we have 3 open forging sessions here a month. So all told, for the whole year, we have on the calendar, we have over 60 events here a year. So it averages over 1 a week. So that's my full-time job. That's why I'm here. Usually 5 days a week, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week.
Wow.
At least you love yourself. At least you love doing it.
Yeah. I'm to the age where I'm trying to get rid of a few hats. So I have an auction business, and I'm also a realtor for a broker company, and so I do that, a little bit of that, and then this is what I do most of the time. But the other thing, when they come out, I can make time. And the good thing about this is because we don't have hours, regular hours set all the time, because I couldn't do it by myself. I have to rely on volunteers and their time and when they're available. So, this makes it flexible. So if I have other things that come up, I can adjust the times, and that's why I don't mind coming here on a day like today. I went to church. I was sitting in my chair. The phone rang. I was like, I don't know him, but I'll take the call. Sundays are usually a little more laid back. So, but I'm glad you all could come out. But we'll take a walk down the other shops, and I'll show you in Bill's shop.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There can't be too many of these in the country, are there?
There really is nothing compared to this facility. With the notoriety of Bill Moran and everything tied to it. Now, the ABS in itself, we do have 7 other schools that are certified. We just got our certification as an ABS official school about 2 months ago.
Okay.
And there's a big qualification on that. I mean, you have to meet all kinds of standards. You have to have the right equipment. You have to have the staff, classroom, obviously. There's a lot of things that go into it. Now, there are a lot of bladesmiths that teach their own, either their own brand or their own type of schooling. We subscribe to Bill Moran's methods because he was one of the first ones, So we'll definitely use his methods as far as schooling and teaching and instruction. We do all that. Now, there are no restrooms down Bill's shop, but if you need a restroom here while we're here, I'll show you this. Show you one of our books, and I'll give you a little information. Take these. If you know any place you can put those up there and up in Lancaster, then please do. Here's our latest newsletter. Here's one of my cards. And this book, this is the last book that we put out. Everything in here is about Bill Moran. This knife that you're looking at, we chose that for the cover because that kind of encompasses all of the best things about Bill Moran. It's a Damascus blade, his own Damascus steel. It's a fluted ivory handle with twisted silver wire inlay, fancy file work on the guard and the pommel, and it's just a fantastic knife. When we premiered this book in 2015, a guy came up and we had this knife on display, and he goes, "Oh, I love that knife. I want to buy it." I said, "Sir, that knife is not for sale." And he goes, "Oh, everything is for sale." And I said, "No, you don't understand." So I explained to him that it was part of the foundation, and it's in our collection. We just, we weren't going to be selling. So he understood. He goes, "Well, by the way, if that knife was for sale, what would it go for?" I said, "Well, it'd probably go for between $50,000 and $60,000. And all of a sudden, there was a price that was too much. So, but yeah, this book it tells a little bit about Bill's history and some of the things that he did, but then it goes right into all his different style of knives. Someplace there, and so all the knives here. These are all Bill's.
He made his own leather case.
Oh yeah. He believed that, and we subscribe similarly, but we don't think it's a terrible thing if you're not a good sheath maker, and you just don't like leatherwork. We don't say you got to make it all, but when it comes to the knife and the blade and the handle and any embellishments, Bill was very, very strict about that. He said, he says you need to be the author of all of that. So this is one of the knives that we own. It's a D-handled Bowie, and quite a spectacular knife. And we own that knife there. I think we own this one here too. That's one of his 50-year knives. Yeah, we have that knife there. Yeah, he just did, and most of these knife sheaths, almost all of them, they have a wood liner on them, and he used basswood inside, and then he would do a design on top of the basswood, and he would impress the leather over top of that to make the different patterns or whatever it was that he was making. The silver wire inlay, he was probably one of the first ones to do silver wire inlay. I mean, people were embellishing knives and doing different things, but he really popularized it. I mean, he really was the one that brought it to the forefront and really started making a lot of progress on all that type of stuff. But the fancy file work on the guards and the pommels and all that, he just exploded with that stuff. He loved to make buoys, but he said that he actually got to the point where he made so many buoys he got tired of doing it. Yeah, I guess like most things, you make so many. Here's some of his Damascus. And the interesting thing about it is he was making Damascus, and the companies that are now making Damascus and the makers that have really done it, I mean, they are now making stuff that Bill couldn't even conceive of. They're doing patterns that they can repeat. They can do things like deck of cards and just all, crazy things that but they can repeat it. That's the amazing. He was doing random patterns, and he experimented, was able to do some patterns like a ladder pattern, maybe a starburst, but by and large, his was a random pattern of Damascus. He knew that by folding it a certain way, you were going to achieve a certain type of pattern, but not like they do now. I mean, now they are doing just it's really pretty special to see what they're doing now. Daggers, quilling daggers of all sorts, push daggers, quilling daggers. He really enjoyed. That's a cinquedilla. He said that was one of the most difficult knives to make because it's like 30 some individual pieces that it takes to make that cinquedilla. 27 different parts, and we still have his original patterns for the knife. We own that set right there. And he was a big hunter, avid hunter. But just doing the fancy, the silver wire inlay, I mean, that was just like incredible stuff, you know.
It's beautiful. I like the one snake scale pattern you had. It's on one of the knives.
Yeah. The one, he only made a few folders. And let me see if I can find there. Yeah, that's. I wanted to show you the one that's on the front here. The sheath that goes with that one is actually made out of shark skin. But he was totally self-taught. He taught himself to do all this. He loved the man in the moon motif, which is what we use, and we adorn the front of the book cover with the man in the moon. So this will give you a little something to think there. Well, that's shark skin there. So when you go back home, you can look up Bill Moran and
Do some research.
learn a little bit about him. So, yeah. Anything I can answer for you about this place or this facility?
Not too much. You guys have any ceramic knives?
We don't, unless we
have.
have a class to make those.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Same thing with like Pucos or something like that.
Gotcha.
You know, we would have to develop a class on that. The thing that we're concentrating on right now is the basic bladesmithing, because we need to get a standard of people that are up to that level before we can go to that next level. You know, it's kind of like I have people call me up. Oh, can you teach us how to do Damascus? Well, yeah. Have you done basic bladesmithing? No. Well, then no. We're not going to show you how to how to make Damascus. You know, you need to have the understand the first part of it before you do the next step. Yeah. Don't take step one before you take step two. But yeah, those are different type. We are going to offer a hunter style knife class coming up here, and we're going to be teaching a tomahawk class.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I'm trying to put together a class on. I have a gentleman who will teach you how to make throwing knives.
Oh yeah.
So of course, throwing knives you don't have you don't want to have them hardened.
Yeah.
You know, they need to be flexible, because if you're throwing them to stick them, you don't want them to stick and break. You want them to stick and flex.
Yeah.
And so, but I think we're going to have that class, and then I think we're going to set up a set of targets down here. And after class, after everybody makes a couple of throwing knives, we'll go out and have a little competition.
Oh, fun.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a rather fortuitous trip for us. Melody had planned a trip with our grandson Jacob to go down to a battlefield that's in Frederick, Civil War battlefield. And Jacob is really into knives and blades and things like that, so we thought it'd be great if he got to go to this forge where they're supposed to having teaching demonstrations on a particular Sunday. Well, we show up there and the place is closed. But there's a sign on the door that says, if you have any questions, call this number. So I want to give a big shout out to Robert Wilson. He answers the phone, and I explained to him, yeah, we thought you were open today. He says, well, we were having classes, but people canceled, and so we just canceled the classes. And I explained that we were down from Lancaster, Pennsylvania with our grandson, who's really into blade making and stuff and the history, and it's a shame he's gonna miss it. And he says, well, we're having an open house in the end of May, maybe he can come down. I said, well, we're from Arizona and we won't be able to make it, you know, we're just in for a 2-week trip. And then he says, well, my wife says I can come to work even though it's my day off. Give me about 15 minutes, I'll be there. So 15-20 minutes later, Robert shows up, gives us this private tour. So just want to give him a huge shout out and say thank you, because I know Jacob really enjoyed the trip. And as I said at the beginning, there's 2 videos on this. I'll give a link for the second one. And please consider subscribing to the channel, comment, thumbs up, and get these videos seen by more people that might be interested. And as usual, have yourself a pleasant day, and thank you for watching.